everyone. Welcome to a live recording of episode 30 of Pat Baer's Anime Club, a semi-weekly series. I think that's right, semi-monthly. Ah, Anyway, twice a month, every other Monday, I put out a new video for Pat Bear's Anime Club where I discuss a topic or a theme, something in the world of anime that I'm super into. This one I am recording live as I stream, which is fun, and I am going to be talking about the fall 2020 anime season. That's right, it's fall. And this is a busy season. Now, some of these shows were delayed due to the pandemic because Japan kind of shut down production and they postponed some things to the summer season. So some summer anime became fall anime. And then also, fall is often a very busy anime season, which is great because while this year has had some super highs, what it hasn't had is a lot of anime. There's always anime, but this year in particular was just a little light. Like, Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin is still, to me, the best show of the year, but there wasn't a lot of competition at the beginning of this year. So I'm pretty excited, spring 2020. So I'm pretty excited about this fall season. I'm enjoying a lot. We're going to go through them. Again, I am using AnyChart for this. It's anychart.net. So we'll go to the website here so you can kind of follow along. There is, as I am recording this live on stream, there will be folks in chat that will be making comments as we go, and we'll talk about those things. But, yeah, let's get into it. So we're using AnyChart. We are using the airing tab, so it is showing me everything. I've made it large here, so it's easy. Normally when I watch it, it's more condensed, or when I look at this site, it's more condensed. But since we are going to be talking about some shows, we'll go through that. And the very first show we're going to talk about here is a show I'm not watching because I don't own any of the smartphone games Idolmaster Cinderella Girls or Idolmaster Cinderella Girls Starlight Stage. So basically, this is an anime. I don't know the length of it. I think it's a shorty. This is an anime that is for people that can stream in their apps, which I think is a cool thing. If you're really into those games, you can watch this. I am not playing these games, so I am not watching. But I do think that's cool. Another show I'm not watching. Let me pause right here and say, there are going to be shows here that I'm not watching. They do contain Chinese animation here on this list, so there'll be a bunch of stuff that I have no access to. But there's also just stuff that I'm not interested in. Like, I am not interested in the child's anime Shadowverse. It is a anime aimed at kids based on the video game Shadowverse, which is cool. But yeah, I'm not interested in that, so I'm not watching it. Is that even out anywhere? Oh yeah, okay, it is. Crunchyroll has it. Cool. You can also do it. You can see who's got it. You can go to their Twitter page. If they have a YouTube page, you can go to that, which is pretty fun. Mentioned in chat, but bless you. I played Shadowverse. That looks nothing like the game. Yeah, it's not like it's an anime about playing the game, not an anime in the game. It is not like the cards come to life, a world set in an RPG that happens to be tied in the Shadowverse. It is one of those things that is about how it's like a toothless Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be that thing of like finding out how great the card game is by watching people play the card game. Yeah, I mean it is an anime about how cool the card game is, basically. So not my thing, but if that's your thing, that's cool. Here's the first show I'm actually watching. Black Clover is available on all the major streaming sites here in the United States. So, here's the thing about Black Clover. I love it. This year has not been great for Black Clover. Basically, they finished up an incredible arc with lots of awesome combat, and they spent a lot of money on making it just look beautiful, and it was vibrant and rad. And then they reached the point where they're going to run out of anime because there's only so much manga left. So they were like, well, instead of taking a break from our ongoing, let's do a filler arc that we write ourselves. Now, they've done filler before. That's not to say that Black Clover hasn't had filler before. It has. It's just that this particular arc is a long story, like a completely original. Usually they do like wrap up episodes or like one offs or like just like extra stuff. They might even adapt stuff from bonus material. They've done a whole arc for themselves. They did a bunch of little filler episodes. They went on hiatus due to the pandemic, came back, did more little filler episodes, then told a story. The major problem is that story is terrible. It is full of characters we'll never think about ever again because they exist solely in the anime. It's told poorly. It is slow, and it features tragic queer characters in an anime that has one queer character. And her queerness is played for laughs. It's not egregious because she has like she's clearly anyway. There's a character Soul who's clearly in love with Charlotte. It's here or there. It's not necessarily played for laughs. I'm being a little harsh on it, but I will say the tragic queer villains in the Devil Worshippers arc is awful, and it's over now. Black Clover is back to its regular filler episodes, and I'm not mad at that. It's a welcome change from what is bad thing. So I would say, if you want to start Black Clover, great. But a couple, well into the 100 episodes in, 100 around 130, is a bad arc. A bad arc. But overall, I'm still watching it. I still like it. I'm just not into it. Is this anybody? No one's picked this up. I know nothing about this. I believe this is a Chinese production. If I can look at that, yeah, I believe this is a Chinese production here, and it is a little chibi mini show around a video game that I've never heard of. So, I am not watching this. You know what? It's kind of fun when anime is based on a novel. I think that's kind of cool. I was about to say it's kind of novel, and that is a bad pun. That's bad wordplay. But yeah, I am not watching Ikeburu Westgate Park. Yeah, that's a Funimation joint. Yeah, I'm not watching it. It didn't seem like something I'd be interested in, and I haven't tuned in, and no one that I'm friends with who talks about the anime they watch has mentioned it. So, yeah, not watching that. This is another show I'm not watching. Another thing. This is based on a video game. It's an RPG, I guess. Magetsu Warhite. I have heard absolutely nothing about this, but I know that it's like folks from opposite sides of a thing get wrapped up together and have to work together, and it is based on an RPG. I thought the art looked interesting, but hadn't started watching it. Haven't heard anything about it. This is not a thing you can watch, but it is about a cat, and it teaches Japanese history lessons. It's in its fifth season. I assume this is aimed at children. But that is not a thing that I can watch. Another show aimed at children, very clearly, that I am not watching. Again, another show aimed at children. This is a spin-off, not licensed. I will talk about a show that is definitely aimed at kids, but is licensed for some reason, and I do love, because it is just short that I'm enjoying. We'll get to that. Then another Chinese show that I have not seen. This is another one here. Nobody has this. They actually got a description. This is a show that is not airing. There's not streaming anywhere that I can watch. Again, another Chinese property. And another one. Okay, so here's another show I'm watching. Kuma 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 Baer. This, I'm surprised, has a low ranking here on the Annie charts, because I think it's really fun. Now, there's a big problem with Kuma 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 Baer. That big problem is that the producers, EMT Squared, somebody there, committee, had the bright idea. Let's not start with the isekai part of the anime. Let's start in the action. Let's do a whole episode where our main character is already in the world that she's been brought to and has already kind of figured some stuff out, and there's a lot of action. Well, the problem is, if you know it's an isekai, you're like, is this the game? Should she be an isekai? What's happening? You're waiting for the incident. The incident, her incident of her, is she going to die? Is she being teleported there? Is it magic? Is it a game thing? What's happening? Well, that happens in episode 2. Now, that's not in the manga. The manga starts with basically episode 2. So if you're going to watch the series, the order you should watch is episode 2, 3, 1, 4, and 5, which came out today at the time of this recording. So that's bad. Is it very cute? 100%. Is the idea that she's got this bear costume and bear powers, and her powers are magnified if she uses her imagination to amp up her bear abilities? Yes. So, like, a fireball is great, but a flame that's shaped like a bear fireball, that's even better. She's going to do way more damage. I like that a lot. There's bear transportation. She rides on some bears. You can see it in this photo right here. That's a bear house. She made her house themed to look like a bear so that she can live in that bear house. It's good. She has bear powers, indeed. Also, I do want to point out that the show is called Kuma 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 Bear, which does mean bear. The animated cutie, which is the little tiny short, it's like 10 seconds long, everything's in chibi style that goes along with it, its side series, is called Baer 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 Kuma, and that's very good. Really like that. So the show's fine. It is my second favorite isekai of the season. That's even weirder, that the first episode streamed like early to kind of preview the show. There's another show that is not available anywhere, and in fact, even the trailer apparently has been taken down. This is on Crunchyroll. I did not watch the first season, so I cannot tell you anything about the second season, except that I don't know what it is, and maybe it's someone's favorite show, but it's not my favorite show because I don't know what it is. So there you go. Hey, why did Crunchyroll pick this up? Why did they pick this show up? It's a short. I don't know how long it is because I've never seen it. Dogeza, I tried asking while kowtowing. So this is one of those shows that is, you are the main character. You are seeing their point of view, and you would like young ladies to lift up their skirt. Why is this a manga that exists? Why was there an anime adaptation? Why did Crunchyroll pick it up? The only thing I can think of as why Crunchyroll picked this show up is that perhaps it was tied in with another show. Maybe they were like, it's a package deal. I do not know. I kind of don't want to know why it was picked up. I'm not watching it. We'll leave it at that. Another show I'm not watching, but I know that some people apparently enjoy, is Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World. This is one side is the technology and weapons side, and one side is the witchcraft side, and they're two lands, and they're bitter enemies, but looks like that one person from one side and one person from another are kind of into one another. Ooh, they got feelings for each other. Is this a Romeo and Juliet kind of show? Yeah. I didn't want to watch it. I don't think I'm missing anything. No thanks. Kid show that is not available here to watch, so I haven't watched it. Noblesse. I just before this this recording started, finished this episode 5 of Noblesse. So if you're gonna watch this show, it's on Crunchyroll. what you want to do is you want to go to Crunchyroll and you want to type in the search bar Noblesse Awakening. That's an OVA. It is like a 40-something minute. It's basically what would be 2 episodes. Like the first 2 episodes of the series are an OVA they released a couple years ago. And then this show is a direct sequel to that. Should they have done that? In my opinion, no. I think they should have just redone the first couple episodes as this anime, so you don't have to go find the OVA and watch it before you watch this series. Now, that aside, there's some stuff to really like about this show. One of the things I like most about it is it introduces a bunch of human characters, and it's like, but don't worry. There's 2 human characters you have to actually worry about in this. The other ones you don't have to worry about, and I really like that. They were like, it's not going to be a bunch of kids. What's a noblesse? It is a noble vampire, basically immortal, daywalker, incredible powers, the best of the best. One of them went to sleep for a very long time and woke up in modern Japan, even though it's South Korea. It's weird. This is a South Korean web comic that was then adapted into an anime. So they changed it from South Korea to Japan, but it doesn't. It says their principal South Korean school. It's a Japanese school. Basically, Frankenstein. Now, we haven't gotten into why this guy is called Frankenstein, but you could probably imagine why a guy is named Frankenstein, who is not altogether human, but he's not a vampire. Anyway, people have been taking vampire powers and augmenting humans, and that's not good. So the noblesse is dealing with that. There's some, like, humans that are fun. There's some characters. There's a shitty... He's basically a shitty teen, but he's also a vampire noble there. That I don't love that dude. I'm not super into that dude. But it's comical in parts, especially Rai, the aforementioned noblesse. He's like got a flourish to him, and he's got a quiet demeanor, and he's like in high school to kind of learn about modern society, and he gets a cell phone, and he's learning about video games, and he's like making friends. There's some story to it. I think it features a little too much about one character who I don't particularly care about that much, but it's all right. I would say if you want a cool vampire anime, this is a cool vampire anime. And you know what? Honestly, they don't make a lot of those. So, noblesse, pretty dang good. I am not watching Strike Witches Road to Berlin, which is the franchise's 10th anniversary. I don't know. It's a sequel to the movie. I know nothing about this. But I looked at it and I was like, okay, so this is either girls who can fly and use guns, and so they replace planes, or girls who are planes. And it's one of those shows. And I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to. Maybe it's great. I don't know. If you're liking it, let me know. Another show that is not available as far as I know. So have not watched this. Again, another thing I'm not watching. Another thing can't watch. Okay. This seems cool, but it is not picked up anywhere. After the end of the world, there's a mysterious museum left in the world. No one knows where the collection came from. Are these seemingly funny historical relics proof of the existence of real humans? That sounds cool. I think this is for kids and it's educational. That's my guess. But it sounds neat. But I can't watch it. It's comedy. I don't know. Another show. It's original. Don't know. Okay. Akudama Drive. Now, I have a friend who was like, Pat, I'm only watching a couple shows this season. And one of those shows is Akudama Drive. And it rules. And I was like, okay. Got some mysterious, extra, super-powered people. One of those people in this photo has a very cool motorcycle. And there's a talking cat. And I was like, okay, all of this sounds great. I watched the first episode. It's very flashy. I do not like the art style. And I have not watched an episode since. but I do know that a few people that I'm friends with are super into this show. But it's not for me. So if it's for you, enjoy. That does sound cool, but I did not enjoy the first episode. Maybe I'm being harsh on it, but it didn't pull me into the first episode. This is an anime adaptation of a comedy side series for Grand Blue Fantasy, which I am not familiar with at all. So I'm not watching the chibi joke series about it. Welcome, new folks. I'm slowly going through all the anime I'm watching right now, talking about shows I'm not watching. Welcome. If you have any thoughts on anything we're going to be chatting here as we record this live, feel free to add in there. And of course, folks that are watching this later on YouTube, the comments is where you can talk about the shows you're watching. Okay, so we got to talk about this. Now, first off, I am not watching Higurashi When They Cry Gao. I am not watching it. But it's very interesting to me what's going on here. Christian says, yes, Christian laughs. So, the plot. A dude moves to a peaceful little village. He's checking out, makes friends, because it's a small little school, makes friends with everybody there, having a great time. Things are going there. Then things get weird, and it becomes a mystery and a psychological thriller, and things are fucked up. And if you've ever watched an anime compilation about bullies getting theirs, you have seen a clip from this show. So that exists. That happened. And there was a sequel, so sure. Then this show got released. Originally, it was promoted as not Gao, but it was it was promoted as Higurashi When They Cry 2020. And it was promoted as a complete, like an updated animation, a redo of the series. It was going to be true to the original, and it was just like, hey, here's some modern graphics for it. Or not graphics, but modern animation. We're going to update it. We're going to put this out again. We're going to stay true to the things. And it is. Until it's not. And then, after an episode, like episode 2 or 3, I think it was episode 2, they changed the name from 2020 to Gao, and then the opening, like the animation has like a new character, because there's a new character. This is a reimagining of the original series. It's not just a faithful recreation, like a modern reboot. It is a retelling with a new character. And so people that are just getting into it can just watch this, and folks that love Higurashi When They Cry now have even more reason to watch because it's going to be a different story. And so, Christian, it is not a sequel, and it is not a remake. It is a reimagining. It is a direct sequel reimagining. If, as far as I know, it is the events of the first series. One character in this knows that a version of the events in the first series happened. No one else knows that this has been restarted and rebooted with a new character. So it is in some ways a sequel, but in other ways it is a retelling, reimagining. And while I do not want to watch this at all, I think that's fucking awesome. It's not for me, but it's cool. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Here's a show I watched the first episode of, balked at, bounced right off of, do not know anything about. I know something about it. This is an anime based on a series of dolls. That's cool. It's called Assault Lily Bouquet. The Assault Lilies are young ladies with magical weapons that fight monsters that are called Huge. It's one of those anime. And I will, again, because it is very funny to me, I will say the name of what they use, their weapons. Charm, counter, huge, arms, charm. So the monsters, the Huge, are all computer generated, and all of the weapons are computer generated because they interact with the monsters. So you have digital animated girls holding big computer generated weapons, and I hate it. I just hated the look of it. Uh, it's very cookie cutter. You know that the main character who is not up to the challenge and she's trying to get there, and you're going to watch her struggle and be bailed out, but then get stronger, and it's going to be a whole thing. And I was just like, no thanks. I watched the first episode because this was the first show this season. The first episode of Higurashi and Assault Lily came out right at the same time on the first day of the new season of anime. So I was like, well, I'll watch this. And I was like, no thanks. Adachi and Shimaru, this is a show that I have now decided I am taking a break from because it is incredibly slow going. Oh, this is some good queer drama. These girls who are brought together kind of by circumstance, trying to just navigate their feelings and, like in this case, their gay feelings for one another. Uh, and it's just so slow. It's so slow. I can't watch it week to week. I'm going to watch this winter when the show is done. I will go and marathon the whole thing because it is awesome, but I just can't with it right now. It's good, but it's just so, like, it's a lot. But I do recommend it. I would say that's something you want to wait on because, it is such a slow burn. Okay. Hey, here's a show. This is aimed for kids. The episodes are 90 seconds long. I'm watching them. It comes out right before I stream every Thursday, so I'll watch tomorrow's episode very soon. At the time of this recording, I should say. It's called Anime Capybara-san. It is a show about a capybara named Capybara-san. Capybara-san is a giant capybara and just chills and hangs out. There are some other animals. There are a bunch of other cappies. They think that Capybara-san is the best because he's big and they want to be like Mr. Capybara, so they follow him around. There's other capybaras that are not as big and not as cool, but they're helpful. And it's just a cute, fun little show. And if you need a little bit of good times, this is a good time show. Highly recommend it. It is just so cute and adorable. This is not available in my region, so I am not watching it. I also generally don't like music slice of lives. I don't generally like stories about bands or musical groups or idol groups or anything like that. That's just me. Um, uh, no, this is not a thing I can watch. Do not know what to tell you. Uh, this is, yeah, I don't think that this. Yeah, there's a YouTube channel, but I don't think this is actually out here. I don't know what that is. Uh, I don't know what this Chippy spinoff is. Uh, okay, can't tell you about these shows. Got a lot of stuff can't talk about here because I don't have experience. I am not watching this season that is not available here, but it is the second season of Bakugan Battle Planet. And you know what? Bakugan Battle Planet followed by Bakugan Armored Alliance. Those are some good names. I'll tell you that. Some good names. Pokemon Journeys. I don't have Netflix right now, so I'm not watching Pokemon Journeys, but all this Pokemon stuff is great. Very great. Uh, Man, why don't we have Doraemon? Why don't we have... Man, this is the 2005 modern take on the 1979 series. Doraemon. Why can't I watch Doraemon, everybody? I would love to. I would love to watch Doraemon. Can't watch that. Can't watch Shin-Chan either. I don't know if I would watch Shin-Chan. I think old episodes are on Hulu, but I don't think current episodes are on Hulu. Maybe they are. If they are, I could get Hulu again. I mean, maybe I won't. I do appreciate this photo is just feels very archaic. Everyone loves Doraemon. Indeed. Um, Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elaine. or Elena, I should say. So even though it looks like Elena, it's Elena, is how they pronounce it. I have taken a break from this show because this show is a fucking gut punch. Okay, so first episode, I want to be a witch, like the witch who wrote the book that I'm reading. Okay, training, sadness, figuring stuff out. A little bit of Yuri storyline, maybe, with the teacher? Okay, I'm going to go on adventures. Second episode, sadness, definite Yuri vibes. Third episode, unbelievably sad, unbelievably sad. Fourth episode, unbelievably sad. And in the third and fourth episodes, let me just tell you, our main character could intervene and help people, and 100% fucking doesn't. Originally, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a light version of Kino's Journey to the West. Because it's a little more fun. There's more magic outside. There's no talking motorcycle, but there's more magical elements. Because she's a witch. That's cool. This thing is just 100% Kino's Journey to the West vibes. But even more so, because Kino, sometimes not successfully, tries to do right. And Elena is not here to do right. Elena is here to have adventures and observe and write a diary of shit. And shit is just going bad. Now, maybe things turn around. As I said, I took a pause on this because it's heavy. I think the art looks great. I think her character is cool. I think it's a fun idea for a story because it makes it like it doesn't have to, have a big storyline and things can kind of go away. I'll say one episode ends with, I don't want to know what happened to a character that was introduced in that episode. In fact, I can't know what happened to that character. That's the vibe of this show, and so I passed on it. Now, this might be right up your alley. You might be like, let me bookmark that right now. Let me get my Funimation, or, oh, it's also on Hulu. Great, I already have Hulu. Can't wait to watch Wandering Witch. But, damn, I don't need that right now. I just don't need it right now. I'll eventually come back to this, but, woof, it's rough. This is not a thing that I can watch. But I'm just going to read you this synopsis because this sounds awesome. Across thousands of years, a terracotta warrior comes back to life. With a girl who looks exactly like his sister-in-law, they fight crimes and become heroes to bring back justice. That fucking sounds awesome. That sounds like a very cool thing. It's an action-adventure comedy. It's not available on streaming platforms, so... But that sounds fucking great. Okay. We're going to talk about the second of the 3 isekai this season. I'm Standing on a Million Lives. Okay, so the overarching thing is, before the show starts, a girl gets summoned to a world that feels like an RPG. There are some elements that feel like a virtual MMO, but other elements are very real, and she's transported there. Then, before the series starts, another girl is transported there because there are a bunch of quests that have to be completed. Every time you complete a quest, eventually you go back to the real world, but you're going to come back again with another person to join your party. And there's a reason this is happening, which is kind of explained, but not really. But here's the thing. The main character, Yusuke, is a sociopath. He hates Tokyo, but he's kind of enjoys the game world he's in. He's very cold and analytical, and in several episodes, he has moments where he almost has an epiphany. He almost has a moment where he grows and changes and accepts some things about himself. And every single time he's almost there, he stops and just goes, I'll deal with this later. I'll think about it later. And I like that. The other people in his party are aware of his shortcomings. He shouldn't be the main character. He is the most proficient in this world, and they are kind of disgusted and bothered by that because he is looking at his own survival first and foremost over the survival of the others. The others just are a means to the end because if you die in the game, you can come back, but if everyone dies, it's over. So someone has to stay alive. Uh, it's interesting. I don't think it's great. It's probably my least favorite isekai this season, but I do like the idea of I don't think this guy is going to grow and change. I don't think this story is going to make him a better person. And I kind of like that. I don't know. It's better than the cookie cutter, nothing, you know, I'm a perfect person hero of isekais that we get a lot of. So I do appreciate that. This is like, it's not all smiles. This is a series that I am not watching. This is D4DJ First Mix. I believe this is a multimedia property. It is based on a series of um, uh, albums. This is one of two shows this season that are based on albums, and I think that's pretty cool. But it's not for me, so I have not been watching it. Uh, but I like the idea. It's a lot because I feel like I would have to go and get the albums and find translations and read a wiki to get into this thing that I'm not super into the idea. And as I said, there's another show similar to this, and we'll get to that later. Right now, we'll get to that. Hypnosis Mike, Division Rap Battle, Rhyme, Anima. Anima. Okay, so I'm going to read the description of this. This is kind of like yes, it is similar to that, Christian, yeah. So I'm going to read the description because this description is bonkers. And then I'll explain what is going on. After the war, women have taken over ruling politics in the Cho ward and have banned and destroyed weapons. This has caused men to fight through rap battles using hypnosis mics, which can be used to affect people's sympathetic nerves and influence their thought process. However, the legendary rap group, The Dirty Dog, has split up into four groups, each representing a division of Tokyo, Japan, and are engaging in territorial battles using words and the hip mics. So, what do you need to know for this? You need to listen to a dozen albums that are albums from all of the main characters and some of the side characters, some of which are battles. There's a manga based on that. There is a wiki, a dedicated wiki. One of the things I think is cool of this idea that this is a multimedia thing is, so there were battles that were mentioned, like upcoming battles, and the audience could vote. So if you went and bought a single, you would get a code to go to a website. So you were supposed to buy singles and then choose of these four songs, this is my favorite. And then you would go to a website and enter a code and you'd be able to vote four times for the song that you wanted, which I think is awful and also kind of cool. Yes, they hypnotize people with their rapping. So it is this, because weapons are destroyed. They don't super get into that part as much as I think I would like. They kind of do, but like, if you need influence, if you need to get in there, also, eventually you're going to go perform for all of these women in power, is kind of the end result. It's pretty ingenious. Yeah, I would say. Because this is, and honestly, what I've been told, the anime is the way in for people that are English language because there's translations of some of the wiki stuff, but you can't really get into a lot of it. Now, you would think, Hypnosis Mike, these are all hip hop groups, right? Wrong. A lot of the songs that are in the albums and the singles are not hip hop songs. They run the gambit. Some of them have hip hop like choruses, but some of them are all kinds of different music. Also, the voice actors for the songs some of them are making their debut. They've never been in an anime before. They've only done the audio dramas and the songs in there. So you would think, well, then these are all going to be fantastic singers. Yes. They're also not all good rappers. Some of them are not great rappers. And a couple of them are definitely very good rappers. And so I've watched 2 episodes of the show. I'm not going to watch any more. I got what I needed out of this. But I think that this is a cool, weird thing. And I am, I don't know. I'm I'm impressed more than I'm interested. Okay, so here's a show. I'm not talking about this show week to week. I've kind of been watching this at my own pace, and is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Season 3 is out. Uh, so this show can't is trying so hard to be heavy, and it cannot handle it. Um, Christian is in the chat right now saying that he's going to wait until it ends. Dropped it. Yeah. So I'm kind of slowly watching. I'm like letting episodes build up. I watched like the first two, and then I was like waiting, and then I watched the third and fourth, and I haven't watched the fifth and sixth. So this show is an action show. It's an action RPG style show. You get the main character. You eventually learn he has been blessed by the gods to do some cool stuff, but generally it's supposed to be about Belle and like ladies love Belle. Ladies just can't help but love Belle. And it's him going through with his goddess, Hestia. We'll see the voice actors for Hestia in another show. But yeah, voice actors for Hestia and going through some stuff. Season 2, I actually think is incredible because it starts off and you think this is going to be the plot of this show, of this season. And it's over in a couple episodes. And I was actually surprised about that. But the second season really pays off what happens in the first season. And some gentlemen, you're not wrong. This third season, the girl that you see there, that Belle, our guy with the gray hair, the silver hair, he's holding a young lady. She is a rare breed of monster that can communicate, that can wear clothes, that has thoughts and has some tribal elements to them, and there are other monsters. She's a monster. And Belle feels bad and wants to help her and wants to help these other monsters. And he's a guy that goes in the dungeon to kill monsters. And, is this a racial allegory? Yeah, it's trying to be. Can this show handle it? Absolutely not. It 100% cannot handle it. This show last season could barely, and I think unsuccessfully, handles the idea of prostitution and slavery and personhood. I think it fails it in so many different ways. So the idea that they were like, let's up the ante and deal with like racism is just like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do this? You do not have to do this. Yes, Christian, and it pays off so poorly. It's terrible. This show's idea of what purity means is garbage. But yeah, this is definitely a show where I would say the first season is totally worth watching and is a fun romp and kind of cool. And the second season, the first couple episodes, I think are really interesting, and then I don't really like what happens with the rest of it. The first OVA is kind of fun. It's a little too horny, but it's fun. The first OVA. The second OVA, not worth your time. Do not watch the second OVA. It is garbage. And this is not great. There's also a side series that focuses on the blonde girl there. That's pretty cool. I believe that is on Amazon because it was an Anime Strike exclusive, but now it's just on Amazon. Yeah, it has cool moments. You're not wrong, Christian. So yeah, I would say this show, this third season, I'm probably gonna wait till it's over. I'm probably gonna stop watching it episode to episode because I'm just not super into it right now. I don't know why I'm watching this. This is called Rail Romanesque. It is based on a visual novel series, and it's short. I can tell you why I'm watching it because it's short. I don't know why both Crunchyroll and Funimation have licensed this. There's only so many shows that are licensed by the big two. I have no idea why both of them were like, yes, we want this thing. Also, this description right here is not. This is a description of the visual novel. It is not a description of the anime. This is like 3.5 minutes long. Basically, every train has an artificial AI in the form of a young lady. And, well, in this alternate Japan, those trains are kind of out of fashion. There's been other very, planes and other forms of transportation have taken over. So not everyone's using trains. So these rail lords get together to come up with ideas for merchandise. And each episode is like pairs of them talking to each other. And do you learn some actual things about the places they're from and that they represent? Like one of them is like the oldest train line. And one of them is like, we have lots of bugs in our area. And we're known for quilting. And it's just lots of Yuri vibes. It seems pretty neat. It's cute. And I'm kind of into it. And it's short. I don't know. I'm watching it. Okay. Tonikawa, Over the Moon for You. It's not a sci-fi show. It's not a sci-fi show. It's classified as sci-fi because this dude's name is NASA, which NASA, like NASA. It's an interesting idea for a slice of life comedy romance where two characters are married. They didn't date, they just got married. They had a interesting encounter in the past. Now they're married and they're learning life. And guess what? She's got a lot of weird shit going on in her life and a lot of mystery stuff. And there's a lot of people who are unhappy that she got married. And it is fine. And he's a dude that wanted to become a perfect overachiever, but he is a weirdo because his name is NASA. It says in here, it is written out Starry Sky. But he is constantly being snickered at as a kid because his name is NASA. So it is, yeah, it's not great. And I stopped watching it because it's just fine. It's Over the Moon for You. I think the first episode, if you like the first episode, maybe keep watching it. It's cute, but it's nothing great, and there's a lot of shows coming out this season, so I'm not watching it. Okay. King's Raid, Successors of the Will. Why is this a double order? This is an anime based on a video game. But it is not, it's an original story. It is not the video game story. It's a wholly original idea, and it got a double order. There are going to be 26 episodes of this show. What the fuck? It is the most boilerplate. Who cares about these characters? Who cares about this thing? Oh, are humans the actual real bad people? Yes, some humans are actually the bad people. I'm sorry I spoiled a huge element. A quote-unquote spoiler of the show that is very clear in 5 minutes of watching the first episode. Oh, some humans are the real bad guys. But not these humans. Other humans are the real bad guys. And just because you're a demon doesn't mean you're bad. Cool, thanks anime. So I'm not watching it, I guess you could say. I am watching Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, I bounced immediately off this episode, the first episode, immediately. Yuji felt like, this whole show felt like, hey, oh cool, they made another Bleach. You got the guy that suddenly has abilities to kind of understand magic and stuff, who's kind of just like, okay, all right, fish out of water, but has a good heart. Cool. But like, what? Where this thing goes places. And then it's immediately like, okay, well, we're gonna have a school thing, and there's gonna be some training, and things don't go great for this dude. And I was like, I really hope that this show is not like, okay, well, he's going to try his best, and then the demon that actually legitimately lives inside of him is going to take over, finish the job, and then they'll go in the back and forth. It's taking a turn This last episode took a turn. I think it's pretty great. Um, it's got good music. I think the action is really great. Uh, there's some dark stuff happening on the background. I'm going to say this. This show also tonally shifts a lot. There's a lot of goofiness that also reminds me of very early Bleach and these kind of shonen. Uh, there's an episode where a character dies. And I'm not going to say anything in there, but it's sad. This character is fucking dead. It's dead. Oh, holy shit. And in that same episode, a character is introduced who is a panda named Panda that talks. And there's even a character that goes, "Are you going to just go right by that without explanation how there's a panda there named Panda?" So there's a panda named Panda, and also a dude dies. It's tonally a little all over the place. Panda Senpai. Yeah, indeed. Yes, another student at the school named Panda Senpai. What the fuck? They're like, "Hey, here's a girl who didn't realize she was being mean. Then there's a guy who can only talk ingredients of sushi rolls because he's been cursed, so he can't just say sentences. And then there's also a panda. I don't know what to tell you, y'all. There's a panda in the show. It's real good. I really do honestly recommend it. I think if you are looking for an action series, I think the animation is really beautiful and dark, and I think that Yuji is a goddamn good boy. He is a good boy. He is part of the good boy crew, a shonen good boy, and Mappa does a good job. His curse power comes from his speech. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're going to learn about these folks in there. Also, they're setting up for what's probably some sort of tournament coming up. And we've gotten 5 episodes in, and they're training for some sort of inter-school fight thing. And I was like, wow, they're getting there. They're already getting into a fighting tournament. Cool. But now we're going to jump here to another show. This is another short show. This is 120 seconds, if anything. It is called With a Dog and a Cat, Every Day is Fun. I am so psyched this got picked up. These folks are wrong. This is a beautiful show. It is on Crunchyroll. Here's the premise. A lady has a dog and a cat. That's the premise. Yeah. And basically, Dirty says Cat Dog is the best Friday show. It's so good. Here's the idea. Every episode is this lady's just like, my cat does this. Oh, no, sorry. My dog does this. My cat does that. Because the cat has a voice actor that clearly does a lot of, like, Yakuza roles. This is a real deep voice like cat. And the dog is very much like light and fun and having a good time. The dog is like, oh, this thing happens. Ha ha. But then episode 3 is all about another character and that character's relationship with a cat. And it's really sweet and great. And out of nowhere. And you're like, aw. So this is a great show. It should be ranked way higher. This is a beautiful little piece, and I think it's fantastic. And I recommend it. With a dog and cat, every day is fun. It's so short. It's a shorty. I think you'll really like it. Fire Force Season 2. I have not watched this since the new anime started, because this is a double length. Sorry. Wouldn't be surprised if that VA shows up in the Way of the House Husband anime that's coming out. Yeah, Dirty. Totally. That guy just has this deep, great voice, and it's very fun juxtaposed with a cat. Anyway, Fire Force. So this season is a double length, so it was started last season, and I watched it semi-begrudgingly. I think the first arc isn't good. I think the second arc of the second season, was better. They went to China. It was really interesting. We learned about stuff that was going on. I think the fight's really cool. Other things have happened. Joker, a character that it almost seemed like Fire Force completely forgot about a character. He's in the upper left there. He's back. I know other things are happening, and it's interesting what's happening. But I will say, the introduction of one of the pillars uh, uh, rubbed me the wrong way so much that I really was like, I don't know if I'm going to come back to this, which is a shame because I think that uh, uh, I think our main character Shinra is a cool. He's part of the good boy era, the era of good boy shonen protagonists. Is it in line with My Hero and Demon Slayer? No. Is it a bummer? Like they put a photo out. I think like Funimation put out a thing of like, oh hey, here's a thing with all these characters and action poses, and one of the characters was one of the female characters was basically naked, and it's like it treats its women characters so poorly. That it either is they are easily mentally unstable, or they have like a quirk that is oddly explicitly sexual for no reason, or the best two characters in the show, the best female characters in the show are one is just has nothing going on. She literally has nothing going on. She is just a nun. She's a sister. She's got no personality and nothing happening. And then there's another girl who's kind of my favorite. She's very strong and capable, uh, and with cool powers, but she also is very like cognizant of the idea and overdoes it when people like talk about her being strong. She's like, who are you calling a gorilla? And it's fine. Like I said, it's fine. That part's fine. But if your show has a character whose personality quirk is, I have bad luck and I accidentally fall out of my clothes all the time, that sucks. Like, oh, she's the black cat, so she gives herself bad luck. Get it? It's just shitty. It's just shitty. Ugh. Uh, I like the idea of a fire cat, but last episode was just that. Yeah, I mean, Christian, there are episodes dedicated to her just having bad luck, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. Anyway, I don't want to talk about a show that has elements that bum me the fuck out. I'm going to talk about my good boys. My good boys. Haikyuu to the top, part 2. This is like the 4th season of Haikyuu or whatever. It's the second half of this season. This is a show that I have 100% consumed since April or March. Lockdown happened, and I was like, I'm finally going to watch Haikyuu. And holy shit, this show is great. It is, yes, is it a sports anime? 100%. It is a sports anime. Is it a beautiful sports anime? Yes. The villains aren't villains, they're just from rival schools. There are a couple characters that certainly are annoying, but there's not any characters that you're like, go to hell. You're just like, ugh, I wish you weren't so talented because you might ruin it for my boys. There are episodes that there's a season that's just a volleyball like set. Like it's so good. There is a character that you will not enjoy in the first season, and they stick with him, and they give him time to grow and change, and he's a lot of people's favorite character right now, or one of. There are redemption moments for characters, and also, like I said, there are characters that rival schools, right? That get their time to shine, that get their moment in the sun, that get to have their growth. There's an episode really recently that's all about like a character I haven't really given a second thought to, and it's told so well. Yes, the second half of this season does not look as good as the first half. Part of that is probably due to COVID. but I think a lot of yeah, it there are background moments that you're like, ooh, you did not spend any money on that, so that you could spend money on this cool moment. Um, it feels a little bit like an ongoing, like a shonen. Like there are episodes of like you're like, oh, this art looks really great. That means next week is going to be bad. My Hero kind of suffers from that. Black Clover has definitely suffered from that. Dragon Ball Super is a famous example of like people are just like, I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray because that looks awful. Um, yeah, it is. They're incredible characters and redemption stories and uh, jokes. I mean, it says comedy in there. There's great jokes in it. It is just very cool. And, like, if you watch the show, there is a decent chance that you will be just doing stuff and just out and about. And maybe you're outside and you see a leaf fall, and the leaf is just kind of coming down, and it's coming down right near you. And in your head and in your heart, you're yelling chance ball. And you'll get it if you watch it. It is stellar, and people were right. I was wrong. I should have been watching Haikyuu all this time, and I didn't. I should have been watching Haikyuu when, years ago, I was at New York Comic Con, just hanging out with some people doing my thing. And I see two kids wearing outfits, cosplaying as main characters. Your two main dudes, and they see two folks in red, and that's from a rival thing. And all four of these girls freak the fuck out and are just so psyched, and they all whip out their phones, they're all taking photos together, and they're all like posing because it's like, oh, me and my friend decided we were going to do this, and you're doing this and we're doing that, and it's just like, and it's a show that like I'm like, that's Hinata. I know that that's Hinata. I know that much. I know that that's the short boy that can jump and spike real good. That's all I knew at the time. But it was just like these four people immediately had a moment in New York Comic Con, like the best moment, and that should have been a clue to me to go, I should watch this anime, because like that level of like euphoria should have translated, should have resonated with me. It resonated as a beautiful moment, but it should have resonated as a moment going, okay, I guess I got to watch this volleyball anime. But I am particular about, I don't like sports anime, except all of the sports anime I've liked. I think I just don't. I've only liked one baseball anime. I think I honestly just don't like baseball anime, but the in and outs is good. Uh, hey, did you know there's still Yu-Gi-Oh? There's still Yu-Gi-Oh. There's still Yu-Gi-Oh shows. Is it? I don't. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's picked this one up. Rush Duels. I don't know what that means. There's still Yu-Gi-Oh. Card Fight Vanguard. I don't know anything about this. Oh no. This is some sort of story where card fights no longer exist. History's been rewritten. Oh no. I don't know what that is. That looks cute. I don't know what that's. It's a children's show. Don't know anything about that. Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai. So I didn't like the first episode of this, and I wanted to. I very much wanted to like the first episode of this show, but I didn't. I'm bummed about that. It's based on the manga, which is based on Dragon Quest, but it's really cookie cutter. I mean, I've said cookie cutter a few times tonight, and I don't regret that term, but yeah, it's very basic. I don't know. I'm just not super into it. I wanted to like it, but I'm not. Uh, Another Chinese show. I don't know. Another Chinese show. Another Chinese show. So I have not watched this yet. This just came out. This is, as far as I know, in the United States, in English-speaking language, the first ever licensed to a streaming Chinese animation. to a streaming service, Chinese animation. This is based on a novel. It's on Funimation. It's based on a classic novel. I have not checked this out. I will. I've been meaning to get to it. The first episode was delayed because it came out on a Saturday and was delayed, and I started streaming, and then I just haven't picked it up. But I am going to pick this up because I hear good things about it. But I love the idea that this dude is just like, he keeps trying to ascend to heaven to be a god, and it keeps getting messed up. Something keeps going wrong. So like he's just like he keeps trying to do it, and it's not working out, and he doesn't know why. And I think that's cool. So there was King's Avatar is available on YouTube, or was at least available on YouTube with subtitles, and it was like an official release. That is the first, as I can tell, official release Chinese animation with English subtitles. But this is like not just it's not really a co-production. This is like a step into this world. There may be a Japanese company involved in getting, rights or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna check it out. A children's show. I think I already, yeah, I think I already mentioned this. But yeah, I guess it's on twice a week. I don't know. I thought I already mentioned this. It looks cute, but I don't know. Okay, Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. This is fun. It's not great, but it is good. This is a sequel to Inuyasha. It is to oversimplify things. It is Boruto. It is Boruto to Naruto. Now, it is not exclusively. It is not a show that exists to remind you how good Inuyasha was. Are some of the original characters there? Yes. Is this show focused on their children? Yes. Do you really need to know a lot about Inuyasha to enjoy it? Not really. It helps. But I will say Toa fucking is just got great, cool vibes and cool energy. She's just got. If conventions were happening this year, there would have been cosplay as her, and it would have looked fucking rad and dope. I would definitely see her next year. I like that. Yeah, it's just like there was some time travel stuff, and it was like characters, and they don't what's going on. Moraha, I think is. I like that she's not really the main. She is the main character, but she's not really the main character. It's more about the sisters, kind of. But I like that she's like, I got a sword and a bow. I'm like my mom and my dad. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. There's some other characters that are around, and you're like, okay, all right. It's fine. I think it's perfectly fine. But I do kind of wish that it was a. I wish it was a little better. I wish it was a little better. Yeah. I kind of wish it was a little bit better than it is. Yeah. Baseball anime that I am not watching. Case Closed. I mean, what can I say about Case Closed? I'm not watching it week to week. It's almost at episode 1,000. That rules. Detective Conan as well. That rules that it's at almost 1,000 episodes. I think that's cool. I'm not watching it. Can't watch that. Don't know if I would want to. Don't know what it is. Based on a video game. I am not currently watching Is the Order a Rabbit Bloom. This is the 3rd season of this show. I don't remember anything that happened in the 2nd season, and I don't think I finished the 2nd season. It's cute. They're never going to go into detail about this rabbit right here. I want to know way more about this rabbit. You see this rabbit right there? That rabbit has got some stuff going on, and I want to know way more about it, but this show is not interested in that. They are more interested in these wacky ladies having adventures, and that's fine. But I would like to know way more about this rabbit, and they're not going to give it to me. Love Live. I'm not watching this. I'm not really into idol stuff. I know nothing about Love Live, and I know that people are fucking into it. So, I'm not. It's not my deal. If that's your deal, hell yeah. Enjoy another Love Live season. Warlords of. I haven't had to say this out loud, I don't think. Warlords of Singradrift. Apparently, this is a sequel to another thing. It might be a sequel to a movie. I don't know what's going on with this. The pillars, when the pillars suddenly appear on Earth, threatening all life, it's only the act of the god Odin that offers humanity salvation. He gives the Earth Valkyries, young female pilots with supernatural powers, and spirit fighter planes. I am honestly very surprised that this is not tagged as ecchi. Because I would just assume that the girls have to unlock their powers by like a normal dude saying stuff to them. Right? Doesn't it feel like that's part of this anime? Because that's several anime. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe this show fucking kicks ass. But I don't know. And maybe this line is like the movie. The tags in this site are bad. Christian, they're generated by like users, which is why like Tonikawa Over the Moon has sci-fi in it, even though it's not a sci-fi series. Yeah, so the tags are bad. Don't trust the tags. The day I became a god. So I bounced right the fuck off this show. I think the premise is pretty cool. But I think the first episode was not fun. So basically, speaking of Odin, a girl shows up, and she's just like, I'm a god. And they're like, okay. And this dude is like, fine, I'll believe you. And I don't think this is a good show. And I'm not going to keep watching it. And that's kind of all I have to say about it. Yeah. Also, I don't understand why maybe someday I'll find out why his mom agreed to let her move in with them. And why it's mostly a romantic comedy that has some weird shit going on. Maybe I'll learn someday. But I won't learn right now. Okay, the Irregular at Magic High School Visitor Arc. This is not as good as I would like it to be. So, there's a lot to say about the Irregular at Magic High School. First, I'll say, the first season was on Crunchyroll, and then eventually the first season came to Funimation, and then they got the second season. So that's something to know about. You've got a main character who is like fine, like he doesn't really talk about what's going on with himself. He's kind of closed off, and his sister, and they're overpowered because of school, and there's like, oh, because of practical stuff or weird things, he's an irregular, he's very powerful, but he's not, the tests aren't designed to show how powerful he is. And as mentioned by Christian, a thing you have to deal with in this show is that the two main characters are definitely 100% totally and sincerely in love with one another. And are blood related. And while the show has people who are like, oh, you misconstrued, oh, and other people being like, they're very friendly, right? They try to have their cake and eat it too, and they can't because their cake is these two characters being interested in one another. And for some people, it's a complete deal breaker, and I get that. I think the action in the first season are awesome. I think the action stuff is great. I think the plot is cool. I think the characters are interesting and their powers are cool. And then you kind of just to be like, oh, and then it just gets fucking weird. And then I have not watched the second season here outside the first episode. Uh, yeah, but yeah, there's a vampire thing going on here, and I was just like, I don't care about this vampire. So I think I'm gonna skip the second season of this show. Another show I'm skipping is The Gymnastic Samurai. It's a very good name, but yeah. I like bounce. The best part of the show is that it's set in a particular time period, in which case the young girl there references twice the Matrix, and it is a timely reference. So it is set, you know what era it is set in, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that they kept the Matrix references. I think that's kind of fun. Because yeah, it's set in the year 2002, so it's like, yeah, she would have seen the Matrix. Cool. Um, but overall, I think the gymnastics they show in the first episode are computer generated. And having a body of a person suddenly become the CG version of that person to do gymnastics, I was just like, no, thank you. Um, Also, there's a giant bird, and that I believe is called Big Bird. It's just a big parrot that they named Big Bird, or parakeet, and I think that's cool. I think it's a funny idea that the daughter clearly named it Big Bird. But it was a little too quirky for my liking. Okay. Awakakaru Sport Climbing Girls. Let's get into this. Let's talk about it. This is a sports anime. Now you might be looking at this going, well, I see ladies. Hello, welcome, Professor Zoidberg. We're talking about anime. I'm going through all the anime I'm watching this season. So you're looking at this and you might think to yourself, I see four girls. It's an anime about a specific thing. Is this season's four girls excited about a thing anime? And it kind of is, but it's not a slice of life. This is a sports anime. Yes, Christian. So this show isn't really ecchi. Now there are moments in the show that are completely inappropriate. There is a character who there's a this is a sports anime in that it is a story about a girl just discovering, ooh, I like this. It's that kind of sports anime. Hello, Baldridge, welcome. It is a girl who is like, oh, rock climbing. Yeah, I want to get into this. Then there's the girl that is her rival who is like, I've been into this my whole life. I'm a little mad that you're good at this. There's the girl who's been doing this for her friend. She fell in love with it because she also wants her friend to do it, and someone who's incredibly talented and has always wanted to be on a team and to do this. They're all coming together. But we've already met characters who are like rivals, who are like, oh, that person's pretty cool, and these people are fucking assholes. And this one girl is creepy. She wears a dress and bunny ears, but she moves around like a spider, and she is definitely like a Black Widow kind of thing, and that's real messed up. But the reason why I think it's not terrible to call this ecchi is that there is an episode where there's a girl who specializes in clothing and athletic wear for climbers, and she puts the sole of someone's feet up to her face. And there's another character that's like, hey, what? What's happening? And they're like, you'll get used to it. And it's like, that's fucking weird. This show is mostly great, and the premise of a girl that she used to be a gamer. She was a pro gamer in middle school, and she loved gaming, puzzle games especially, and mobile games. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It doesn't show, when you continue, it doesn't show up there, but Uh, Thank you so much, Professor Zoidberg, for continuing your sub. I appreciate that. A gifted sub. Thank you very much for that. Um, it is only one scene, Christian. You're right, but there are a few scenes here and there that are this is kind of weird. Yeah, kind of sneaked it in. Um, like there are a few moments in the show that are a little questionable, but overall I think it's good. The idea there's a girl that was good at puzzle games, but she wanted to get into high school, so she gave up games. But she has a good mental ability to understand puzzles. She's like got she can map them all out. So she's great at doing wall climbing. She just has to get the strength and experience, but she can pick up the mental fortitude to do it. Uh, so it's interesting. Uh, yeah, look, I don't think this is cookie cutter. I think this is something you can watch and it's fine. I think there are shows that have been far worse. Um, but it is like, well, yeah, I mean, like, food, no, Food Wars is a thing you can't show anybody, and it's unbelievably not appropriate for people to walking by. That's not something you have on in the living room. This show you can have in the living room. There's like I said, a couple scenes, but I just get the vibe that the Spider Girl is the bunny girl who acts like a spider is just going to be even more inappropriate as things go on. She just has an inappropriate vibe. Uh, but I do think that this show is interesting. It is not a slice of life. This is a sports anime through and through, but I think it's pretty fun. Um, I am not watching Healing Good Pretty Cure. I know people that love this show and were so psyched that it got picked up by Crunchyroll, but I have not watched it. Uh, I am not watching Digimon, the reboot of Digimon. If you are, fuck yeah, that's what I've been saying about that. But I have no place in my heart. There's no like spot for Digimon. I never watched it. I watched like random episodes, but I wasn't into Digimon. So yeah, I just haven't. It's just not a thing for me. But I'm glad you can watch it. I am slowly getting caught up on One Piece. I let One Piece go when the new shows started, also because it was getting. There had just been a period of sadness and action had heated up, and now it was cooling off. But I'm getting caught up on One Piece. There is stuff about One Piece to still like. Uh, we're getting into more action. I won't get into detail about this, but there was an amnesia storyline that is seemingly wrapped up, which is great because amnesia storylines are boring. I don't know anything about this show. Kirito Preach-On, season 3. Um, I also don't know anything about a show that seemingly did not get picked up by anyone, which is uh, Mukul Dreamy. I don't know anything about Mukul Dreamy. Don't know anything about that. Don't know anything about these here. Don't know anything about that. A world where justice and evil collide. A dimension entwined with magic and science. The retirement life of the strongest hero. Okay. I don't know. I don't know any of these. It's all Chinese shows. Boruto. Man, I haven't watched. I don't know if I've watched Boruto in 2020. Uh, because they finished up a pretty cool arc, and then it was like real bad filler. Uh, Hollow Note Graffiti. This is not a thing that you can watch. Is this an interesting idea? Comedy shorts featuring various VTubers from Hollow Live Agency. If you are into VTubers, you might try to find a translation of this because maybe it's really fun. Saizen-san, uh, episode 2582 is airing soon. That's a lot of fucking episodes. It's a lot of fucking episodes, Saizen-san. It's the Emperor's favorite anime. And it took a break. Okay, so I'll say about this, about Saizen-san. It took a break during COVID, and it's the first break it took since 1980 something when the oil crisis happened and anime went on hiatus. So it is just like you've the character is aged and as the voice actress also has aged, and it's the Emperor's favorite anime. I don't know what that is. Okay, so I'll say this: I am not watching Talentless Nana. I'm going to read you the description, and then I'm going to tell you something about this show. It's the year 20XX. Earth has been assaulted by monsters known as the enemy of humanity. In order to deal with this threat, special schools comprised of teenagers with extraordinary abilities were formed. These people, who came to be known as the Talented, have abilities that defy the rules of reality. Among these superpowered individuals was an outlier, someone who was sent to one of the schools despite having no innate special abilities whatsoever. This is the story of our protagonist, who attempts to defeat the enemies of humanity through the use of intelligence and manipulation. So you're like, oh, cool. This is going to be Nana is a girl that doesn't have any talent, these talents, but everyone else does. And so she's going to use, like, basically, she arrives saying, I can read minds. But she's using power of observation and some clues, like stuff that people have done to say that they have psychic powers that charlatans have used. She's going to use some of those powers, right? And you're like, this sounds like cookie cutter. So I didn't watch this show because it sounded fucking cookie cutter. It sounded like, oh, this is fine. She's going to like figure stuff out. Yeah, it's kind of like Psych. She's going to, pretend like she's got psychic powers, but she uses the power of observation and trickery. I wonder why she's being sent there. I don't know. But let's look at the tags. Drama, horror, psychological, supernatural. So now I'm going to spoil Talentless Nana. The show does it anyway. You'll know this because it does it anyway. The people that sent Nana to this school sent her there to fucking kill everybody else. They're the enemies of humanity. Talented people that have extraordinary powers that are young are the enemies of humanity. She's there to fucking murder them. So it went from a show that I wasn't interested in to a different kind of show that I'm not interested in. Because it's just, who's the murderer? So I tend to not enjoy anime that where the main character is the villain of the series. And I know that there are certain folks out there, they're into that. They're into those shows. If you like those shows, you like those shows. I don't like those shows. I like characters who overcome stuff. I've said I'm slightly interested in I'm Standing on a Million Lives, and that character seems to be irredeemable, but there are other characters that I'm interested in. Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to root for her to succeed or not. And I don't know what twists and turns it takes, and maybe but she's got to kill all these people. She's got to figure out what their powers are and kill them. And what? It's just not for me. So I do appreciate that this show has a twist in it. And I think that twist is interesting. And also, the description, if you look at it, Sarai was an outlier. Someone who was sent to one of these schools despite having no innate abilities. Which is true. Everything they say in this is true. Except it's been twisted a bit. Because she does attempt to defeat the enemies of humanity through use of intelligence manipulation. It's just that the enemies of humanity are the talented. And yeah, I'm into the idea of it, but it is not for me. So exactly like Psych. Yes. Yeah, exactly. No. But yeah, I think that's a cool idea, but it is a genre I am not interested in. I don't know what this is. This is clearly for kids. Yeah. Pickles the Frog. All right, it is some sort of... Okay, yeah. I don't know what that is. I don't know what Fireball is, but this is the final chapter of Fireball. I'm not watching this. This could be the best show this season, and I will never watch it because it is an anime about Moriarty. And I cannot stand anime adaptations of Sherlock Holmes. I'm done. The only thing I'm done more with is Journey to the West. I don't, and I already watched the Journey to the West last season. Uh, so yeah, I don't want to Moriarty using crimes to get things done. Oh, poor Moriarty. He's gonna fix things. Not for me. Not interested. I'm not interested in Sherlock. I think it was only 2 seasons ago we had Sherlock, a Sherlock anime. Uh, and then there was also last year there was if Sherlock was like only interested in like valuable objects and like was like a broker of object like yeah, no thanks. I'm just done with Sherlock stuff and by extension Moriarty stuff. Uh Idolish 7 second beat? Don't know. By the grace of the gods. Hell yeah. Okay. This is the best shonen of the season. It is very typical shonen. There is a guy, he's had it rough, he dies, he gets reincarnated as an 11-year-old. And it's him, and he focuses on slimes. The slimes are CG, it's fine. The monsters were CG in the last episode, not great. He meets a bunch of people. They're wealthy. They take him in. There's a young girl that's learning magic. He's, of course, great at a bunch of stuff because a very common trope in isekai is, well, our world doesn't have magic, but we have imagination and we have like stories, and so we don't need to read spells to do magic. We can use like image training to do it. So of course we come in and we're good at magic, and it's fine. It's mostly light. There's some touching moments, a couple touching moments here and there, but it's mostly pretty light as a show. Um, and it's fine. I think it's pretty great. There are animal girls. I do want to know. There's a guy who's a samurai. He looks like a samurai, and he's got bushy eyebrows. And they called him a dragon newt. And I want to see if he transforms into a dragon. I hope he does, because that will be cool. But yeah, it's light. It's fun. I think it's a good time. As I said, the monsters in it are CG. I don't love that, but I don't mind that the um, slimes are CG. I think that's fine. All right, I think this might be the last show I want to talk about here, but we'll go through. My Setsu opening act. Oh no, there's one more show for us to talk about that I know about. Um, okay, how to explain this show? First and foremost, this is a slice of life. This is this season's four girls really into a thing slice of life. It just so happens to be that the thing they're into is stand-up comedy, specifically duo stand-up comedy. Japan still has the tradition of duos. Um, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy. Uh, Also, kind of the Sklar brothers, although the Sklar brothers are twins who are basically doing the same act at the same time, and this is like more like skits and sketches and stand-up material and fast-pacedness. This is a world where that's still a thing. So this is a slice of life about two duos, a popular duo who is a couple years older than them, two girls who really want to start doing it, and then also there are a group, a duo that they know who have been doing it for a while and they're like still at it. And those are real people. They're real Japanese stand-ups who are writing on the show, play them a version of themselves. And as a comedian, as somebody that came up and did stuff and is still a successful slash unsuccessful comic, I don't do stand up, but I get all the stuff that they're going through. There's a bit that never worked, but she loves it, so she wants to do it. There are jokes where they're watching other people, but they're not watching for laughs. This last episode, they tank. They're doing stuff for old people. There's a guy reading a newspaper during their stand-up set, and another guy falls asleep because they're old people at a hot spring. And then the headliners uh, do dark material, but it's dark material um, that is meant to relate to them. It's they do material that works for them, so then they succeed. Uh, the timing I think works okay. Really, what it is people don't want to see bad stand up, and it's not bad. It's just beginner, or it's them figuring it out, and it's them flubbing things. And they do a bringer show where they get laughs, but it's kind of just people they know and they're related to. Uh, and then there's a successful group, J.K. Cool. That's the girl with sunglasses on her head, and the blonde girl, and they're like they blossomed out of high school and they're very successful. Uh, but yeah, for the other girls, it's trying to figure stuff out and trying to like get there. It's an original series. The creator of K-On! Maybe it's not K-On! I forget. Lucky Star. The creator of Lucky Star is doing this, did the character designs, and there's a teacher character very briefly in there that is directly related and played by the lead in Lucky Star. And it's just got heart, and I understand why people would pass up because they were like, "Oh, it's a comedy show. And it's funny, but it's not a comedy. It's a slice of life about comedy." And I joked on Twitter that this show exists only for me and Jake Young, who is a anime-loving stand-up comedian. He used to work for Dorkly in College Humor. And I do kind of think it's true. I think it's only for like a very niche kind of like audience. But that audience is me, and I love it. I don't know anything about this. I don't even know it's not available anywhere. Uh, but I probably wouldn't watch it because it's an idol show, and that's not really my thing. I don't know about these. Okay. I have heard good things about this show that I am not currently watching. It's a slice of life in music. It is a house for failed idols that are going to try to they have to start an idol group so that the house that they live in doesn't get demolished. Um, but not all of them are the same kind of idols, so they're kind of trying to figure things out. And I don't know. I've heard okay things about it, but it just didn't really strike me, so I'm not watching it. Okay, we saw that already. Okay, Golden Camus, Season 3. I can't get into this fucking show. I tried. I've tried several times. I think the art, the style looks very cool. I think that the physicality and the fights look awesome. But it's so fucking weird. And I don't like it's weird. Its brand of weird doesn't sit with me. It's weird. It's just, some of it is gruesome and some of it is interesting. Uh, and I have heard that that uh, the native elements are true to life, and it's like apparently very well researched. I've heard good things about that. Um, but I can't. I just bounce off this show every time I've tried. I don't know. Yeah, I just can't. Uh, this is an anime based on line stickers, and I think that fucking rules. I've never seen it. Don't know how I would ever see it, but I love that they were like, those stickers are so great. Let's make an anime. I think that rules. A3 seasons autumn and winter. I have not watched spring and summer. Uh, It is. I do recommend that, folks. If you're watching something because you're like, I should like this, or everybody likes this, but you're not into it, drop it. Maybe come back to it later. But feel free. Like, they don't owe you anything. But yeah, I have not watched any of these. I do not know anything about them. Um, I think, yeah, I don't. this is another thing where you are the main character. It's basically an anime version of a visual novel. I'm not interested in that. Uh, yeah, I'm not no it's that. Okay, I think this is the last show that I could talk about here in this video. Okay, so Sleepy Princess in a Demon Castle. Now, previously, we talked about the voice actress who plays Hestia in um, Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? That's the same. This is the same voice actress. She's also Rem in ReZero. This is the funniest, weirdest show. But last episode, I was like, I'm kind of maybe not as into this as I originally was. So, there's a princess. She is kidnapped by the Demon King. Does she try to escape? No. She's just trying to have a good night's sleep because there was always people around her and she could never really sleep there. But the castle isn't really conducive to sleep. So she's going on a lot of mini adventures in an attempt to go on quests that she is of like a better pillow, better sheets, cool air in the summer, various things. Um, and there are characters. The demon cleric, because she dies a bunch, so there's a cleric that brings her back. There are reoccurring guys. In this last episode, apparently the ladies have been out, and there haven't been any female demons, which I hadn't even noticed, but it was true. This last episode featured a harpy who just wanted a friend. She just wanted a human friend because humans been scared of her, but she wanted a human friend, and she wanted to have girl talk and a sleepover. And it was cruel, and I felt bad for the harpy a lot. Because this main character, a lot of the jokes are that this human princess is hardcore as shit, and is just like totally up for murdering a demon to steal all of the wood from a tree demon to make a log bed, is an example. So as I'm watching it, like a friend of mine said, like, oh, I gave up on that manga. I thought it was fine, but I eventually stopped reading it and just kind of forgot about it. And I can understand that. I don't know if I'm going to finish this show because it was this episode 5 was a little cruel. It was a little too cruel for my liking. The jokes were a little off. I will say this. There is a skeleton in there. He's a minor character. He is a skeleton man, and he has an arrow sticking through his head, must be how he died and became a skeleton man. And that guy is great. He's a very minor character. I would not be surprised if I never see him again, but I thought that was a great bit of business. She makes an igloo out of an ice golem. She destroys an outcome. All right, have a great night, Kristen. We are just about done here, but I appreciate you hanging out and chatting. Let's see. This is a bottleneck. I didn't like the art style. This is a short. I'm not watching that. And I think we are done. Yeah, that showed up again. I think there's maybe some errors here going with this. That might be on me. But yeah, that's all the shows that I have been watching. She kills the Michelin Man. Yes, and wears his skin like a suit of armor. Yes. She murders a rubber man that looks like the Michelin Man, a tire man, to wear his armor, to be insulated from the cold. She's a straight up killer. Yeah, that show is interesting. But I do think it's funny, and I think there are moments that are very cool in it. But yeah, it's a little off. It's very video game. Yes, she is savage. She is definitely a savage princess. You are not wrong. But that is going to do it for our episode here. Pat Baer's Anime Club happens every other Monday at youtube.com/PatBaer. Some episodes are like 20 minutes where I'm just talking about a thing, like my pet peeves episode, part 2, which was the last episode. Some are long, like this. But leave a comment below, YouTube watchers, on what you're watching this season. If a show that I'm not watching, if you're watching like a Commodore Drive and you're like, this is the best show this season, like, let me know in the comments. I would love to read what you're watching. Thanks so much for watching.